So imagine being married and living separate lives for months and finally seeing how your anxious heart and people pleasing tendencies were really holding you back. Here are the 10 truths I had to learn the hard way. My husband just graduated Army basic training and is going into his next phase of stuff. During that time, we actually celebrated our 5-year wedding anniversary. And being apart with limited contact, mostly letters and a few phone calls, that wasn't what we had planned. They told him he'd be able to call me every week, and that did not happen. So it was definitely an adjustment, but here are my 10 principles. Now, for me, I teach on anxious attachment, relationships, emotional stability, and really learning how to control our thoughts. That's something that I've personally grown through and that I'm still growing and learning from because the way that I grew up and the way that I was loved, I developed an anxious attachment style that affected my marriage. So this season really forced me to be my own person outside of my marriage, to have my own life, speak up for myself, to have boundaries, to have my own back. And that's something that has taken years of uncomfortable growth, but it was necessary, and especially with being apart. Now the Bible does say that you become one, but that doesn't mean that you lose yourself. So here are the 10 things I learned. Number one, prioritizing God is essential. Okay, for my marriage, for myself, for everything. His love is more fulfilling, more grounding, and more secure than even my husband's love or my own. Now, Matthew 22:37 says, love God with all your heart, soul, and your mind first. Because when you put him first, everything else flows correctly. I love my husband deeply. I pray for him. I pray for his well-being, his dreams, his struggles. But at the end of the day, God loves my husband more than I ever could. That was told to me by my previous mentor, and it's stuck with me ever since. And you know what? It brings me peace. When I don't center God, I idolize my relationship. When I don't put God at the center, my anxious attachment wants to put my husband there, front and center, on a pedestal, hyper-focused. That's not healthy. It puts pressure on him and it puts me on the back burner. I don't want to teach that to my children. And if you find yourself losing your hobbies, not talking to your friends anymore, making your relationship your entire personality, that's not love, that's anxious attachment. And even scientifically, this makes sense because when your brain doesn't feel safe, your amygdala activates, you go into survival mode, you cling, you overthink, and you attach. But when you have your own life, your own peace, your own identity, you regulate your nervous system, and that creates balance. And honestly, men feel that. If a man feels like he's your entire world, it creates a ton of pressure, and that pressure kills attraction. The woman he's drawn to, she has her own life, her own peace, her own direction. And even in marriage, that doesn't go away. It just becomes aligned with your life together. Number two, prioritize your security. Okay? Physically, mentally, and emotionally. If you have anxious attachment, that means you don't feel secure. So for me, becoming secure meant learning how to love myself, taking care of my body, going to the gym, drinking water, feeding myself properly, and also paying attention to my emotions. When I feel anxious, I don't ignore it anymore. I regulate it, and that's neuroscience. When you slow it down, you breathe, you bring awareness, you calm your nervous system and bring your brain out of survival mode. Now, in the mornings, I meditate. I brain dump. I open up my voice notes and say everything on my mind. Then I organize it because I want to know, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What's taking up space in my mind? That's how you build self-trust. Number three. Number three, take your time and do things well. I used to rush everything, just trying to get things done because my mind was always so full. But something that I actually learned from my husband is that he takes his time. He looks at what's in front of him and thinks it through and then executes it well. And I realized he's not rushing because He's not operating in stress. And when you're constantly rushing, that's actually your nervous system in a low level stress state. You're not present. Your life starts to pass you by. So now I slow down. I do things with intention. I stay present in the moment because I don't want my life to feel like it's just flying by. I don't always feel like I'm stressed out about something. Number 4, we're going to serve our community, okay? If you want good friends, you have to be a good friend. My friend Hannah actually taught me this, where she said, if you want a village, you have to be willing to be the villager. That means being present, listening, showing up, sometimes being inconvenienced because relationships take effort. And if you've been the type to get lost in your relationship and pull away from your friends, you might need to rebuild those relationships, and that's going to take humility, but it's worth it because we're not meant to do life alone. Number 5, work as a team in your marriage. Don't leave him by himself. Make decisions with your future and your children in mind. It's not me versus him. It's us versus the problem. Even in arguments, it's us against the issue, not us against each other. And I had to learn this the hard way because as a people pleaser, I would leave him alone in decisions. I would put all the pressure on him, all the responsibility, because I didn't want to lose him. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. So when he would ask me for my opinion, I would say, whatever you think. I don't know. What do you want to do? And that's not fair. We are a team. And if he's asking for my opinion, he values it. And biblically, this is alignment. Because in Genesis 2:18, it says, it's not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. That word helper doesn't mean less than, it means support, strength, and influence. And I had to realize being in my feminine, being a wife, being in submission does not mean I am beneath him. Submission means under one mission. He may lead, but I influence. He makes final decisions, but he takes my heart into consideration. And if I stay silent, I'm not helping him. I'm abandoning my role and abandoning him. So now when he comes to me, I pause and ask, what do I actually think? What would add value here? And if I need time, I'm going to take it. Because confidence in your voice comes from consistency, comes from building that intuition. And that's something that I had to build, trusting myself, trusting what God places on my heart. Collaborating on decisions actually reduces stress and strengthens the bonds. That's what neuroscience shows in a bonding hormone, which promotes trust and emotional connection. So leaving one partner with all that responsibility can trigger stress, that cortisol. Now 6 is creating a peaceful home. He's the head of the household. I'm the heart of the household. Proverbs 14:1 says, the wise woman builds her house. That means the environment matters. What I say matters. What I allow in my home matters. So for me, that looks like having healthy food in the home, making meals with love, creating a calm and peaceful space. Now, my husband cooks. That's his strength. I clean. That's mine. But I am learning to cook because I want to contribute, because effort matters. Now, we haven't been in this so-called home that I'm making plans for yet, but I'm already planning to do these things because a structured home supports prefrontal cortex regulation. It helps emotional responses. Like even what we watch will matter. Okay? Like when you watch, what you watch affects the brain. If you're constantly watching stressful content, betrayal, fear-based, or dark themes, your brain releases stress hormones like cortisol, your nervous system stays activated, and that energy lingers in your environment. Your body feels it, your mood reflects it, your home carries it. So I had an idea. When we do get back into the same household, I would love to just watch great videos that are educational, lighthearted. And if we're going to watch something intense, we watch it at like a theater. So that way it stays peaceful and grounding in a place where we actually can rest. Number 7, allow people to be themselves. Allow people to be themselves. Stop controlling, stop trying to manage how people see you. This was a huge thing for me as a people pleaser, because when you're people pleasing, you're not allowing others to be themselves. You're constantly analyzing them. What are they thinking? How are they reacting? What do I need to do to keep them happy? Trying to control or constantly monitor others triggers hypervigilance in your brain, amygdala, associated with anxiety and people pleasing. Letting others be authentic supports the networks that promote empathy and connection without overtaxing your emotional resources. Because that's exhausting and it's not authentic, because now you're performing all the time. And here's the truth: if someone likes you because you're performing, they don't actually like you. They don't like a version of you that is actually real. And now you have to keep performing to maintain it. And that's so much pressure. That creates anxiety, and eventually that relationship feels empty because they don't know the real you. Genesis 1:10. Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? You cannot live for both. So I had to learn. Let people think what they're gonna think. Be who I am and trust that the right people will align with that. Number 8, let go, let flow, and let God. This is something my mentors taught me. Be detached from the outcomes. God is always moving. You just have to make the room. So control used to run my entire life. I thought if I could control everything, I could prevent pain. But control is actually fear. And fear keeps your nervous system in survival mode, always on edge, always bracing for impact, always trying to predict what's going to happen next. But when you surrender, your body calms down, your mind quiets, and that's a peaceful way of living. And mindfulness, prayer, surrender practices, that increases your prefrontal cortex, improving that emotional regulation and resilience. So trusting that even when you don't understand, God is working. Instead of gripping everything tightly, I release it. I let things unfold. I trust, because peace doesn't come from control. It comes from surrendering. And number 9, I advocate for myself. Expressing my needs, likes, dislikes. People pleasing is self-abandonment disguised as kindness, by the way. Stop leaving yourself behind out of fear of being abandoned, because anxiously attached people or people pleasing puts you in a constant fight or flight. This is painful. It's unhealthy. It's exhausting. Love yourself enough to advocate for your needs. Be genuinely you and stop performing to avoid conflict or gain approval. It has to start with you. Constantly suppressing your needs triggers those responses that leads to stress and anxiety. And expressing your needs actually rewards those dopamine pathways. It also prevents chronic cortisol elevation, which occurs when you're constantly self-abandoning yourself. So number 10, leave room. I didn't even put anything on the list because I'm leaving space for God. He sees the bigger picture. So number 10 is blank. We only have one piece of this puzzle. So I gotta be open for whatever God has planned for me. And the brave thrives on plasticity. Believing everything reduces openness and limits your personal growth. So staying flexible, leaving room for that divine guidance, it will help with that perfectionism, stress, anxiety, things like that. So those are the 10 principles I'm going to be living by from now on, because it's already improved my life significantly. And I know that once my husband and I are living together again, it will be so beneficial on creating a peaceful home and a peaceful marriage. So I hope this helps. I have a free training down below where I teach you how to stop losing yourself in relationships and attract that provider and protector man. Like and subscribe for more. And if you're listening on the podcast, follow for more content like this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.